This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
The law of attraction states that everything is energy and that like attracts like. True spirituality states that the only true reality is that of oneness, unity, and unconditional love and forgiveness. Together, these two are attached at the hip and perform a beautiful symbiotic dance together. Hi, I'm Carl Gruber, author of the brand new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship. This is a book that will show you how to build a rock-solid personal foundation based on unchanging, eternal, universal truth that shows you how to become a consistent co-creator with the universe to create the life you love to live and live to love. Get your copy today of my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and learn how to manifest the life you truly desire to be living. Now available as an ebook or paperback on Amazon. Hey, congratulations, you have come to the right place. This is the show World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, with this show, we once again turn our attention to the realm of trance channeling, this time with our featured guest, America's medium, Carol Collins. Now, this is her second visit to World Awakenings, and she brings with her the Jeshua Collective of enlightened and ascended master teachers and beings. Hey, Carol, welcome back to World Awakenings.
Hi, glad to be here.
Yeah, you know, Carol, you're just one of my favorite people. I just love it that, before we bring your friends in, I'd like to congratulate you on how far you've come in your mission of being the voice here in the human realm for Jeshua. You used to be known as the Pittsburgh Medium, but now you're known as America's Medium, correct? How did that come about?
Well, it came about with a conversation with Jeshua and some life planning that they have for me. And they said, Carol, there's an opportunity for you to do things regional, and there's an opportunity for you to do things global. And you're the human being. You get to choose. It is your life and your life experience, your lifestyle, and you've got to be the one that agrees to it. Your abilities are very in line with what we want to teach. The thing is, they said, but you do get to, you have a choice in this. This is our material that we're speaking out loud through you. And it's our material that we put in books and in the podcasts and in the workshops and in the classes and in the readings, but it's you that gets to decide how far and wide you want to do this and how different of a lifestyle you want to have. So what do you want to do? And I said, well, I like global. And I don't know that I would have always chosen that, 25, 30 years ago when my children were small, that probably would have been a very difficult thing to turn down, but I probably would have needed to. And now life is at a place where that feels like it's the right decision. Plus, I love their material and I don't want to hold them back. But I understand what they say when they say, you get to decide. And so I say, well, let's go big or go home. Go big or go home. So let's do big. What's my alignment? I said, what is my alignment with global? And they said, well, we wouldn't have brought it up if you didn't have the opportunity to do it. However, we also like global, we like regional, we like anything you want to do. And I said, okay, what's the catch? And they said, well, there's just an opportunity coming your way to do something big, but also with the entertainment industry. And as it is forecasted right now, it looks like they're going to want to change your name. And so you could do it now and capture the name and the website and do all of that and kind of put it in the byline. You could just capture it and hold on to it, but it looks like they're going to want you to be the American medium or America's channeler or America's medium. Which one do you like? And I said, well, I like whichever one you choose. And so they chose, and wouldn't you know it, the domain name was available and everything else. So yes. But if you go to the pittsburghmedium.com, it will send you directly to americasmedium.com. There's a dash in there, americas-medium.com. So if you go to one, you'll get to the newest site. It is a leap of faith. And it's really just how I live my life now. If, I give readings every single day as a channeled person with Jeshua. And the thing that I adore the most is when people come back again and they say, all right, so I took their advice and this is what happened. So what do I do now? And, so just like they said, this is what happened, just like they said, like clockwork, but now I've got this other situation coming in. Is it the same? Do I need to do something different? And so I love when people follow their guidance, because everything does work the way they say when you do. So who am I to do the opposite? So, I don't like to be a hypocrite any more than anybody else does. So.
Well, I think it's wonderful that since I first had the opportunity to meet you, and you were on my show, over a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years, your success as a trance channel and an enlightened being has just exponentially grown. And speaking of that, since that time, you have written and published several books, right?
Yes and no. So let's back up just a minute. I really don't consider myself an enlightened being. I consider myself gentle and peaceful. And I like gentle, peaceful things. So I don't like violence. I don't like blood and gore. I don't like, vulgarity. I prefer a gentler, although very active lifestyle. So I would say they are enlightened, and they are providing enlightened material through me. But, I'm a human being just like everybody else. I just have a really cool talent. I have a really cool gift. And as everybody has something, this one is mine. And the way that they're describing it, trance channeled, but they also call it a very light alpha state channeled, because there are some people that don't quite resonate with the word trance channel. And it seems a little weird, like what happens. And people have described it as, consciousness leaves your body and your guide steps in, and you got to be careful who you let in your body. And I've heard all kinds of very strange, weird descriptions. And so Jeshua has been describing it as alpha state channeled person, a very light alpha or a deep alpha. So I am a very light alpha person. My eyes are open. I can hear. I can be standing up, moving about. I can be active, and then also have them step in and just speak out loud. And it's clean, clear, very accurate. And I like to, you're a runner, Carl. I like to walk on the treadmill to keep from being too stationary, having a stationary life. So I walk on the treadmill, or I walk on a track, or I just take a few minutes of trail walking and do my readings that way, because it gets me moving and it keeps me active. Nobody gets to be sedentary unless they choose to be. And so I don't choose to be. But not all channeled people can give readings that way. Not all traditional clairvoyant mediums can give readings and be on the move. For me, it's one of the special abilities that I have, and I love it. I love it. So yes, Jeshua is, they're describing it as alpha state instead of trance, although it is a trance state, but some people get weirded out with that word.
Well, it's interesting. So I do want to talk to the Jeshua Collective here, if we can bring them in. And your style of them coming through you is, I have had other channels on where their voices change, their characteristics and everything, but you're just speaking in a normal, beautiful style with them coming through you. And if they would be so kind to come through now, I have lots of questions.
We're right here. We're right here. It does work that easy. And so can we change the voice? Of course we can. But Carol's inner mind, her inner mind doesn't like it. It
Yeah.
makes her feel false. It makes her feel like she's play acting. And so her inner mind says, no, not unless we're at home and we're goofing around, and we are funny beings and we do goof around with her, but no, we don't normally do that with her. Her mind doesn't care for it. Now, why does that happen with other channeled people? Because some channeled people, the inner mind doesn't understand who is speaking. So we'll describe it to you and to all your listeners and viewers. So here's what happens. Think before you speak. You shouldn't have said that. You should have thought about what you said before you said it. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. Think before you speak. And people have said that and said that and said that, and they teach it to you. And don't put the wrong answer down. Think before you put your answer down. Think before you do your opening speech, because you only get one chance. And so people have learned from the time that they had awareness of learning to think before you speak. So when you begin to speak to your guide and have this two-way dialogue with your guide, the mind does law of attraction. The mind does what it has learned to do, and it thinks before it speaks. So we would say traditional mediumship is in the mediocre category. It could be accurate. They could be psychic, and we don't say psychics or mediums. We say clairvoyant mediums, because there's still more progression. The mind is still wanting to think before speaking. And so you receive it in the mind's eye, and then you have to choose to speak. And then you have to choose to describe it the way that you think that you got it. Now, a channeled person no longer needs to think the words that were received. The body is willing to say it. We call it the art of allowing, the art of allowing. So it takes a lot of the woo-woo, weird, strange kind of scary thing out of the whole idea of trance channeling. You're not in trance, you're in less awareness. The awareness factor, being completely aware of the room, you have a dimmed awareness of the room that you are in to a very light or a very strong degree. And then we ask the mind, would you say these words out loud in this order and no other words? Would you say these words out loud and no other in succession? Would you add this facial expression? Now, we can add facial expression or body language through some channeled people, not all. Would you add this intonation? Would you pause? Add a dramatic pause. We can ask the mind to do those things once the mind is willing to speak the words. And so it is Carol's body that's speaking. We are providing the information. We are using the words that her mind favors. So if she had a very, very scientific mind, her mind would add the desire for scientific words to be used. Now, there are those kind of channeled people. Her mind does not favor that, because she needs, in her physical life experience, law of attraction we're talking about now, her personality, in other words, is one that needs people to understand her. Before she had the ability that she has now, that we're using in this moment, she taught leadership development, project management, and some professional things and communication and things like that. So she was a teacher. And she did those kind of things. She did training and whatnot. And so she has a desire to be understood. She has a desire to be understood. Now, she also had life experience where she wasn't always understood and people misunderstood her. And then it grew in the desire to be understood, which launched her into the realm of wanting to own a business where she could teach people. And so she has a desire to be understood. And so technical jargon doesn't cause most people to understand. And so we're able to speak in plain language terms. We like to use props. We like to use storytelling. We like to engage people. We like to give you some creative things to do. We had a reading earlier today, and we talked with the beautiful gentleman about speed talking. What is speed talking? Well, this person was going through a little bit of a hard time, and we knew that the hard time was going to be short-lived. It's going to be about 2.5 days. And so we said, well, start thinking now what you can do to distract yourself when the the what if scenarios keep cropping back up, and it will last about 2.5 days. And then you'll be through the thick of it. And so we talked him into a couple of things. There's the pivot, and there's scratch writing, and there's all kinds of other things. And we said, with the one that is fun is speed talking. What is speed talking? So let's say that you're driving down the road and you get this pang of fear and worry. Oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? I shouldn't have said that. I knew my boss was in the other room. I shouldn't have had that conversation. They probably heard me. I don't know what's going on. I don't really want to face my boss because I was talking about something personal, and now he knows, blah, blah, blah. And so you got this whole what if situation that's going on. You don't know if they actually heard you. You don't even know if he was in the room. You don't really know, but you've got this sudden surge of fear that's cropping to the surface. So we say in that moment, just pick an object and speed talk. Speed talk. Cell phones. I like cell phones. They're square. Actually, they're not square, although there is one square one, but then it opens up to rectangular, and it's kind of fun. It's open and close, open and close. And I like things that open and close. Doors open and close. Hey, closets open and close. Dresser drawers open and close. Eyes, I can blink. Open, close, open, close. Hands, open, close, open, close. I love hands. I love shaking people's hands. People are so fun. I'm such a friendly person. I love people. I really like doing the speed talking thing. I could do it all day long. It's so much fun. I love my life. I have a great job. And then end it there, because then you've come all the way back around to your job, you like it, and you're happy, and now you just had fun, and speed talking can get you there. Yeah. So we like to teach practical tools so that you do not clog the pipes.
That's a form of
so Carl, we love you so much, and there's been so many asking about when non-physical teachers talk about clogged pipes, and there's several of us that do. What is the metaphor? What are they trying to describe? Because I don't really understand. The chakra system is kind of like pipe-like, but they've been described as gears. They've been described as swirling energies. So what do they mean by clogged pipes? Does that just mean like a barrier? Like I set up a barrier and I need to break through the barrier like a glass ceiling? And we say, well, in a metaphoric way, yes. But we don't want you to break through the glass ceiling or the barrier. We want you to sidestep it, or we want you to step over it or crawl under it if you need to. We want you to turn away from it and go the other direction, meander around it. We want you to avoid the obstacle, avoid a head-on collision, and favor launching yourself over it or around it. How do you do that? Speed talking will get you there, and there's a lot of other things as well. So we devised teaching, and it's on Pillar 1, as you know, the essential material. Pillar 1, conscious beings and why we have physical life. Pillar 2, law of attraction, thoughts create things. Pillar 3, self-healing and all the ways to do it. Pillar 4, your unfoldment into your spiritual abilities, otherwise known as your own personal awakening. So we have put those 4 topics in what we call the essential material, the 4 pillars of learning. If you listen to any true channeled material, highly qualified channeled person, not every channeler is a highly qualified channeled person, break out your pendulum and double check. But it's good that people are making more people aware of the ability. Nevertheless, there is a need for people to understand that you are not good until you are. And that goes for intuition, that goes for your clairvoyant abilities, that goes for psychic abilities, and that goes for channeled abilities. You're not good until you are. There are mistakes made in the mind until you don't. Now, a channeled mistake is omission, not altering. Clairvoyant, it's altering, it's omission, and it's addition. Intuition is omission, addition, and altering. So what do? Well, we like to say we focus on Pillar 4, but we bring the concepts of Pillar 1, 2, and 3, and we weave them together so that Pillar 4, meaning your awakening, comes about smooth and easy, nice and easy, but also nice and easy plus fast plus accurate. So why channeled? Because it's verbal, out loud. You are taught, think before you speak. And so do you think the words, meaning your guide sends words to you. When the mind is able to relate those words accurately, they're spoken in the mind's eye. So you hear a voice. The voice generally sounds like your own thinking voice. if you progress in meditation and if you progress in classwork and in exercises, and especially self-validation, we teach all of these things, then the mind will eventually not need to say it in the mind's eye first. It'll just agree, because we're always saying, will you say it out loud? No. All right, produce it in the mind's eye. All is well, all is well, all is well. And we always say those words, all is well. The mind needs it. Now, eventually the mind will simply say, I'll say the words. And then the words are spoken. That's a channeled person. But channeled means that the mind is willing to, on some words, on some occasions, but not all the time. And so you might still have a contaminated message, but eventually you won't. So we say, for any of your viewers and listeners, for you yourself as well, break out a pendulum. If you believe that you are a channeled person, have someone else take a pendulum, and without asking the question out loud, ask your friend, please do use a pendulum on the question that I'm thinking about right now. And then think to yourself, or read to yourself, am I a highly qualified channeled person? And then let the pendulum speak for itself. Now, the pendulum itself does not have the answer. It is an energy connection with a guide, but if your mind is made up on a topic, and if you think you're a channeled person and you're looking for validation that you are really, really good, then you could be in the way. So a safeguard is simply, don't ask your question out loud, ask your friend to do the pendulum, and then say, okay, I'm ready, do the pendulum. And then they get a yes or a no, you've got a yes or a no, and now you either know to go forth and do, or to step back and step back into the student mode. And if that is any of you listeners, then do come and see us, because we want to clean up the pathway for you to be full and open, light, alpha state channeled person. We talk about the grid, and the grid is the etheric pipes, E for etheric pipes. And the etheric pipes do get clogged. And a number of us non-physical teachers, when we talk out loud, we do have these conversations. They are real pipes. You can't see them, you can't feel them. They are a non-physical structure, and they hold your memories. But your memories are a subject plus emotion. So you got this podcast, for instance, and hopefully all of the viewers enjoy it. We think that they will very much. And so you've got podcast as a subject, and then you've got, I enjoyed it very much. Those two are woven together. They're woven together. Now, let's say that you had a barista who was in a very bad mood and you had a terrible experience. My experience at the coffee shop, bad, unhappy, disappointment, woven in. We say woven, not mixed in, not contaminated fully, woven. So in meditation and in energy work, we call it attunements, we can unweave disappointment and soften it to satisfied or neutral. And so you've got experience and you've got emotional experience, the intellectual experience or the object experience, and then you've got emotional experience, and they're always woven together. You can't have one without the other. And so energy work softens the emotion or amplifies it if it's already good. A channeled person needs to have energy work done on a consistent basis. It'll keep the message flowing from us, flowing. You'll notice that mediocre or intermediate channeled people, we love all of them, but the message is sometimes repetitive, time after time. There's no depth or richness. It's just beautiful message. So if the repetition is there time after time, then we would say you simply need energy work, and you'll break the barrier in half, kind of like parting the Red Seas. The barrier, you don't have to break through it. The barrier will dissolve. And then all of a sudden your guide will start teaching in depth using experiential examples. They'll really be able to get their point across in a very logical way and step away from the metaphoric way. We only use metaphors when the human belief system causes the need for us to. Energy work, everybody could use it, but channeled people, or those that are aspiring to be channeled, they need it. Consistent basis. Consistent is daily. It's a way of life for a channeled person. Sure is.
I think you've mentioned to me a number of times that everybody has the ability to channel, and so is it those clogged pipes that keeps people from channeling?
It is, but it's also a way of life. So we don't mix words, but we do say this. It's upper echelon of the ability to communicate with your guide.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need to be somewhat of a purist in your meditation and energy sessions. You do need to be a purist. Let's just say that you need to be a purist. You need to be a serious student, and you'll rise all the way to that level. Now, will everyone get there? Well, on one hand, we say you have the ability to get there because it's an ability that the subconscious mind has. You're all telepathic beings, and you are telepathic beings with people. We call that psychic. Psychic. When you go telepathic with people, we call that psychic. So we don't want any more psychic readings, because psychic readings don't help you. They're not guidance from beyond. It's not forecasting into the future. It's a psychic or telepathic connection, person to person, person to person, person to person. That doesn't help you if you're trying to make a decision and really find out what's coming for you and what you're manifesting. So what do you do with psychic? Well, that's a whole different conversation, but that's how you manifest your life on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What is channeled for? Well, channeled is a verbal conversation. It is a verbal conversation. And when you're very good at it, we can give you very specific guidance, step-by-step instructions. There's not too many people that we can do that through. We can give messages of upliftment through a great many of people, but we're not able to teach and get all the way down into the depth of the material and explain things, the nuts and bolts of the mechanics. We are able to describe the nuts and bolts of the mechanics on pillar 1, 2, 3, and 4. Behavioral analysis, why you think the things that you think, and what energy techniques will work for you to move past the barrier. So can anyone channel? In a utopia? Absolutely. But you don't live in utopia. So what can you do? Well, you can make it a life journey, not a sprint. You can make it a marathon, not a 5K. Mm-hmm. So, and we say that for Carl, our friend, we think you're doing very well. Work on those ligaments a little bit more than you do, though.
I've been trying.
Yeah. It's like this. You have to let it take the time that it takes. And if you do, it will take less time. If you push, and if you have a determined nature, if you have a goal in mind, a time frame, then you will create resistance, because the mind says, well, I don't know how to make myself a channeled person, because it does not know how to find that information in the world. It has to settle down. You have to just say, I'm in it for the long haul, but I know I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know I'm going to get there. And then more and more people will. Now, we do have unfoldment into channeling classes. They are channeled. They are us providing the conversation. It is us providing the assignments and the instruction, but we're also doing energy work behind the scenes on every single student in every single class. And we are causing the inner mind to awaken. So subconscious mind, there are 3 parts to it. Part 1, part 2, part 3. So think of it this way. Part 1 gathers life experience, keeps track of quantity. Part 3 keeps an eye on the quantity, and when it reaches a certain amount, then it produces it in your life. Part 1 and part 3 is law of attraction. 1 gathers life experience, keeps track of quantity. 3 observes quantity, and when it reaches a certain amount, it must enter your physical life experience. So 1 gathers data, 3 produces it, but it produces it based on quantity. 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. It is the mechanics of law of attraction, and law of attraction is person by person by person. It's the grid. It's your subconscious mind. Now, we went from 1 to 3. So what is number 2? Well, number 2 is in the middle, and it is a dormant feature of your being. It's a dormant feature of your being. That feature is, or the ability to translate vibrational conversation from beyond. So 2 doesn't even come into play unless the human being is desiring to have communication with somebody on the other side. It could be a musician that's where we are. It could be your loved ones that are where we are. It could be your guide. It could be a different type of being, like an angel being. It could be a pet being. If someone or something has died, it does find its way where we are speaking from, this non-physical dimension. How do you connect with them? Well, you have to learn it, but you can only learn it in meditation. So you've got 3 parts to the subconscious mind. Part 1, part 3 combined is law of attraction. Gather data, keep track of quantity, observe the quantity, produce it in your life. 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. They're in cahoots. The second part is the one that translates into your primary language the vibrational conversation that's coming from beyond. We do speak all languages. Every human being does not. The vibrational conveyance comes in, and when this second layer of the subconscious awakens fully, translation is perfect. But it has to awaken. And there's a great many people giving readings and they're not awakened fully. And so they're relying on picture books, or they're relying on assumption, and they're not getting the full word by word by word by word. They might be getting a lot of words, but it's not all our words, because it won't be all of our words until this center layer is awakened fully. We like the word awakened, blossomed into your beingness. It is the translator within, but it's not an automatic process. It is an awakening. It is a blossoming. And meditation is what gets you there, because it is your guide, person by person by person, that in your meditation sessions is slowly but surely soothing and comforting, soothing and comforting, soothing and comforting, and asking that part of your subconscious mind to wake up. When it's awake fully, it's raring to go and it's ready to go, and it does its job perfectly. So
your description of what you just did there, to me, is an incredible, beautiful description of the process of the law of attraction. And the line that comes up to me is all thought produces form on some level.
all thought that has ever been thought remains in the world. And when you think a thought has already been siphoned from the world. So when you have an uppermost thought, where you have a thought that you can acknowledge, that thought had to come from somewhere. It came from the world at large. Mm-hmm. It was placed in your subconscious mind. And in the subconscious mind, it stayed, gestated, and it began to draw more thoughts like it. So you don't even have a thought. So there's a no thought on your mind, a no thought. And there's information that is gathered on your behalf and is put into the grid. And then the grid, the subject gets turned on in the grid. When it's turned on, there's a magnet or a siphon, and it draws more to it. When it draws more to it, the magnet gets stronger, the siphoning gets stronger, and then it draws more and more and more and more. When you reach a certain quantity, then the other part of the subconscious mind says, now it's ready for life experience. And then you have a thought. Now, you might have a thought that says, I'd like to go for a run. But then on another day, you might have a thought of, should have got up earlier. Now I don't have time for a run. So you see how emotion is positive expectation or disappointment. So going for a run is the common denominator. The subject is in the grid, but life experience and all the different amounts of quantity, the different individual data points have their own emotion to it. So on the case of a run, you, for example, you have a predominant positive view on you yourself going for a run because you've got a positive view. You wouldn't have a positive view if the collection of data had run plus negative emotion. Then you'd be a naysayer on running, or naysayer on running for you, or a naysayer on running for you at this time in your life or a certain time of day. So we can, it's the yeah, but factor. So when you have a thought that you can acknowledge, there's already been draw, accumulation, and then it flows into your physical life. And it will flow in as a thought, then a behavior, and then a physical problem. So when we talk about physical problems, we teach you a little bit about the ligaments. Now, here's what the ligaments do. They come into play first, and then the muscle, and then skeletal system. So how do you keep your vertebrae from going misaligned? You take care of the ligaments. How do you take care of the ligaments? Eat well. Dress well. Take care of your physical body. Because when you take care of your physical body, you have imprinted a thought of, I take care of my body and my body functions well just by taking care of it. So it's like a nonverbal conveyance of, I like my body, I love my life. I like my body, I love my life. And I like my body because I take care of it. I like my life. I like my body. I like my life. I like my body. I dress well. I eat well. And then your body functions better. Now, but you see people falling down, and you drive by a hospital, and you've got different things that come into play. You drive by a hospital, the aspect one takes into the grid. Sometimes people get hurt. It's a subject that lands in the grid because your eyes have seen it. You hear an ambulance, same thing, only it's by hearing instead of by seeing. So the grid gets filled up, and it gets filled up and filled up and filled up and filled up. It gets filled up with subject, and it gets filled up with individual minute pieces of data, subject by subject by subject. And every single piece of data is a two-part idea. It's a two-part thought, subject plus emotion woven together. So what do you have the most of? Take a look at your life. What things do you like? You've got a lot of I like that in the grid. What things do you not like? You've got a lot of I don't like that in the grid. It's always in the grid first, and then in your physical life. Thoughts first. And that can be changed. Your physical body can be changed by altering your thoughts. How do you alter your thoughts? You can do it by being educated in podcasts like this and in classes and books and whatnot, but also energy work. So you can step in and you can help yourself, in other words, but it's truly your guide that steps in and looks at the grid and softens the emotions that are woven into your life experience. They soften the emotion. That's emotional recalibration that happens in meditation. It will happen in meditation. You make it a daily practice, you will become emotionally balanced. Your emotional range will be strong and long on the uppermost side, all things happy, and it will be short and shallow on the negative end with disappointment and all things like it. When you are emotionally balanced, predominantly happy, your physical body will comply. You get what you think about, but you don't always know what you're thinking about. Now, when we say thinking about, we really mean deposits in the grid. It's like a bank account. What do you put in the bank account? Pennies or dollar bills? Do you put monopoly money or real money? So, you can't buy anything with monopoly money. So that's, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't have it. I wish I could. I just can't. That's not right for me. No, that's gross. Ew, stop doing that. It's fake money. It's false money. It's false. It's a false idea. It's negative emotion. So you got to turn around. Now your guide can turn that negative emotion and soften it, dissolve it, and then turn it into positive. They can. It's not magic, but it works like magic, and they can. But the human being, the fun thing about the human experience is you get to choose also what to add to your life or what to subtract from your life. So subtract comedy that's vulgar and sarcastic, subtract violence of any kind, stop negative self-talk. Just cut it out of your life. And supplement with joyful things. Go back to playing checkers. Go back to playing fun things. Go back to bowling or lawn bowling or reading a book or writing poetry or throwing a frisbee or flying a kite. It doesn't have to be movies on the lawn of some plane crash and everybody screaming and crying and running for their life. Yes, that's entertaining. And yes, the special effects can be masterful, but it clogs the pipes. What you take in, what you observe, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, what you engage in, you are putting in your emotional bank account. And it's the emotional bank account plus every subject that you've ever witnessed, every subject you've ever been exposed to. So what's in your emotional bank account? Take a look at your life and you know. Take a look at your life and you know.
So, as you may know, I'm pretty well invested in wanting to see healing done. I facilitate a Power of 8 healing group. And my understanding is, and everything you're saying here seems to be in alignment with us, sickness happens when those etheric pipes are clogged. And so if everybody practices what you're talking here, I mean, can they heal themselves?
Yes, but let's talk about this healing group that you have. We love it. Just so you know, we love it. We love when people are using their own hours in a day to do something for themselves. What are you doing? So when we say, what are you doing for yourself? Well, you are believing in healing. Mm-hmm. You are believing that thought gathered together can heal. And it can, and it can. Thought gathered together can heal. Now, thought gathered together can harm as well. So think about this with your healing sessions. When people describe, let's say you've got person A, and they're the focus of that healing session. And we'll just simulation here. Not saying it's the way you do it. We'll just do a simulation for everybody that's watching. So you've got person A as the subject of healing. And so here's option A for going about that session. All right, everybody, let's begin. And let's start with a simple description. This person is dying from cancer. She has doctors who are helpful. She has a family that's supportive, but she's suffering greatly. Her appetite is gone. And her faith is strong, but her energy is extremely low. So let's all just be at peace with ourselves, be at peace with who we are, and let's just send her some healing. Draw the healing up from yourself, up, 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 up. Let it look like a well. and you're reaching in and drawing up healthy energy only, and you'll know it's healthy energy because the pail will come up the well. And when it's up, let it spill over into the room that you are in, and her guide will take it from there. Draw it up. And when it comes full surface, then let it spill over into life experience. Now, that's one way to do it. The problem with that is you've got some of this and some of that. And so we would say the subconscious mind of one person could focus on cancer, could focus on suffering, could focus on she's lacking appetite. You don't know what another person's unconscious mind, you do not know what another person's inner mind will focus on. You don't know. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to try to guess at it. Somebody might be a beautiful, pleasant person. And they'd say, oh no, I would never focus on their suffering. I would never focus on that. But their grid might. Mm-hmm. Because the data gatherer just gathers data in the moment based on everything that they have been exposed to by quantity. So let's say person B, who's attending the healing session for person A, and they come every single week. And so they have a great quantity of hearing cancer and suffering, suffering, healing, suffering. So they might have accidentally taught their subconscious mind, focus on suffering because we're here to heal. Focus on the suffering because we're here to heal. But you don't know. The subconscious mind just might say, yeah, we're here to heal. Suffering, I get it. It happens. Yeah, I'm focused on the suffering. Oh, on that person. Yeah. And so that person B might accidentally, psychically project more suffering on that person just because of their awareness of the details of their problem. So we would say, do it a little bit differently. All right, so we've got person A, who is happy, healthy, wonderful, alive human being that is suffering. And drop in the well. So you could start to minimize it, but then people have a focus point and you still don't know. Now you've limited the words, but you still don't know what the inner mind will associate. And the inner mind could, with lack of information, jump or project itself onto the person that is center of attention, getting the healing. And it might say, oh yeah, they've got anger. A lot of clogged pipes of anger. Yeah, I've seen that before. Yep, that's suffering. Yep, I see that. They've got clogged pipes of anger. They have clogged pipes of anger because the subconscious mind goes out into the world at large and identifies what it wants to experience because it's an inner experience before it becomes an outer experience. Inner experience accumulates, and when it accumulates to a certain amount, it spills over into physical life, and now you have awareness of an experience, but it starts on the inside. And so a person's mind might, oh yeah, I see they have anger because it's the emotion that vibrates. And so even if that person on the outside is saying, I'm praying for your healing, I'm praying for your healing, I love you, I love you, I love you, I'm praying for your healing. That person's subconscious mind might at the same time be saying, yeah, they have anger. I see the clogged pipes, they have anger. They have anger because in that moment, the person that is the subject has clogged pipes. And in this example, we're saying the clogged pipes are the emotion of anger, which always erupts in organs failing. So anything on the inside is anger, rage, and all things like it. Hate. Anger leads to fury, leads to rage, leads to hate. So how do you get an accumulation of that? Violent television, sarcasm that hits you the wrong way. So you don't know what your mind is going to identify. And that's why some people don't heal or don't heal for very long. So we would just say, have a circle of however many people and send healing to each other without describing it at all. Say, we're just here to draw up from the inner well of purity And let's just visualize the well going into the center of our etheric body and draw up wellness. And then sit there with that full bucket, and then just let visualization begin from there, and watch how your guide uses your bucket for you. Because everybody has a desire to be healed. You want to heal, but what the mind always wants is, please me first. I don't want to tell people that I'm hurting. I don't want to tell people that I tripped and fell. I don't want to tell people that I cried just before this session. I don't want to tell people because that other person is suffering and they're the subject. So we say it would be good to have everybody draw from the well, and then visualize the bucket that came from the well, and everybody will have their own vision. Some might have the bucket pour over them. Some might visualize. It's not a vision that they conjure. It's a vision that the inner mind is connecting with your guide. There might be a ladle that pours it over a shoulder. It might be a ladle that pours it over an ear. It might be a ladle that pours into the stomach or the digestive system, or it might pour on an ankle. You let your guide give you a vision of what they're using that pure wellness for. And after everybody has had a few minutes of personal wellness, then do it again and offer it up. And let the person who is identified by the week visualize the bucket, and that person's guide will dip into each bucket. And then everybody will have a second vision of how it is being applied to the person of interest. Now, what does that do? The grid takes in, there is healing on the inside in the etheric. There is a guide who heals me first, and that brings awareness of, oh, healing is real, because it feels that healing has taken place. It feels it on itself and says, oh, healing is real. Oh, we're going to do it again now for somebody else. Oh, okay, I can pay attention to this one. And then it watches healing. So heal first. Each person is just a short visualization that quiets the mind, and then offer to the other. The other person will receive more healing in that way, because it's just, everybody wants to be picked. Everybody wants to be picked, not for sickness, but the inner mind always says, well, I'd like healing first. It always says it. Just know that there's an inner desire to be chosen for healing, because everybody's got emotional density on the inside. I'd like some healing. And so we would say, to make it even better, heal thyself, and then you have more to give.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
We also have found, many of us, including myself, that as we focus healing on another person, there's a rebound effect, that it comes back to the person projecting the healing. And I believe that's in line with that, as we give, we receive. And personally, I have found a great sense of peace that has been my rebound effect.
Maybe. We can't agree with you fully on it, though. We love you so much, but we can't, because law of attraction is in effect 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. And so what you put out, you get back. So in the moment that you are in a healing session, a human healing session, it is an intention-based healing session, then there is some intention to do that. But you don't know where the mind is wandering. You are a non-physical being to the core of who you are. As such, you have unlimited capacity to gather data all at the same time. And so part of a person's focus might be on that healing, but part of the person's focus might be on the unwellness. Part of that person's healing might be there, but it might not be there. So what you put out, you get back again. But you got to understand this. It's like having, let's just say, magnets. Magnets are turned on and gathering data. So let's just use two hands, and let's just say you've got 10 magnets going. You've got 10 magnets going, 10 magnets that are gathering data from the world, but they're gathering data based on quantity in your subconscious mind. And because of that, it's gathering data on 10 different subjects all at the same time. And so you don't know what you put out, you get back again. All right, well, it's more like what you gather than is produced in your life. It's law of attraction. What you think about, you get more of. But it's not your acknowledged thoughts. It's what you draw to you becomes your life. What you draw to you becomes your life. So in a healing session, you might be primarily focused on offering intention-based healing. Do know in that moment it is that person's guide that is using your intention to heal the body of that person or the emotional self of that person. And that could be described a little bit more, and that person will receive more, because it is the guide that works on the energy body, and it's the person that works on the physical body, although the guide can work on the physical body as well. You take a run and you get all sweaty and dirty, you need to take a shower and wash it off. Physical person washes the physical body, but the non-physical teacher that you call a guide cleanses the non-physical body, and that is where all problems arise from. So, you've got these, we'll just say, for instance, 10 magnets going at the same time. You might have 2 that are focused on the intention-based healing, and you got 8 others that are just flying around the world gathering data. You don't know. And at no time are all 10 focused on one thing. It is an impossibility. It does not happen because there's different needs. The subconscious mind gathers data from different places all at the same time. It's designed to. And so what it gets, you get. What it gets, you get. So but you might appreciate what you are doing, but you have no idea the unconscious data gathering is at play, and that is law of attraction. And you can influence it, but you don't know for sure what is happening. So we would say always heal thyself using a visualization technique, and then offer that visualization technique to the other person. The other person will receive more. You'll also capture the attention. So you might have 3 focus points instead of 2 that are focused on the intention-based healing. But involve the guide. It doesn't have to be a biblical person. It could just understand that that person has a non-physical teacher that entered this world with them and is with them their whole life. And they are willing and capable. Now, if everyone has a non-physical teacher who is fully superpower, fully knowledgeable, expert in what they do, expert in what they do, we use the title teacher, capital T, for a reason. They are a teacher of life experience, and because of it, they are qualified to be a guide. It's not Grandpa Joe that's your guide because he died last week. That's an impossibility. If you are a teacher of life experience, then you are qualified to be a guide, and then you are. So why do people get sick? Is that guide just off on vacation, not doing their job? No. It's that you've got a subconscious mind that's gathering data, and you've got lives that are too busy, and they're too fraught with violence and sarcasm and heinous crimes on TV and ambulance drivers here and there and everywhere on TV. And so, if you might pass an ambulance once a year, but you turn on the television, it's on every other channel. And so you ingest sickness because of television. But there's also violence and blood and gore and violence is violence. Everybody knows what violence is. Sarcasm is violence because it hurts your feelings. Anything that hurts your body, hurts your feelings, dims your personality, is violent to the subconscious mind. And there's too much violence. So you're taking in a quantity of violence. And when you're taking in a quantity of violence, then your guide is softening it, but the mind isn't able to absorb the healing and let it fully blossom without deep meditation. So anybody that's looking to have a healing session, we say just start with meditation. Because in the silent moment, your guide can capture the attention of the data gatherers. It's just like this: gather data, gather data, gather data, gather data. Hey, I've a certain type of data. Hello. I'm going to get in there anyway, but I'll have to wait until you're sleeping. I got to wait till they're sleeping. The subconscious isn't listening. And so in meditation, the guide says, hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. Oh, that's a new piece of data. Wow. That's pure love right there. I like that one. And so then you might have a little bit of realization of wanting to be gentle. You might start wanting to turn off the violent TV. You might want to have a salad for dinner instead of slicing and dicing a steak. That might be a turnoff to you, because part of your subconscious mind might have tuned into pure positivity, which is communication from your guide. How do you make it stronger? You just keep doing it. Meditation, deep meditation. Healing takes place in meditation and in silent moments. But it's a practice. It's a longer conversation. We teach it. The Art of Self-Healing is an ongoing weekly class that we do. The Unfoldment into Channeling is an ongoing weekly class that we do. We do it. We devise the material. We devise the content based on who's in attendance that week. Because we talk to everybody's guide. Now we want people to talk to their guide as well and get the play-by-play. Hey, what's coming up for me today? Look, today is a slow-paced day. Stay extra happy today, and it'll roll over for about 2 days. Just be happy today. Whatever you do, just do it with joy. Today's an easy day. All right, that's a true conversation. Now, somebody else might say, okay, what's happening today? Ooh, between 3 and 5 o'clock, you're going to be stressed to the max. Please eat earlier in the day. Let digestion take its place earlier in the day. And then around 1:30, go for a short walk outside. The fresh air will refresh you, and then I'll have more opportunity to keep your emotions under balance between 3 and 5 o'clock. It's a partner handshake, pinky swear, I got your back. It's like that. It's what we do. Now, people don't have those conversations, and that's why we want more channeled people, highly qualified channeled people, because there's too many people that sit in meditation and then talk to themselves, and the mind will talk back because it will learn it. Simulated conversation happens all the time. We don't want it to happen anymore.
Well, I just have to say that for those of you who have just tuned in, we are speaking with the Jeshua Collective coming through Alpha State Trance Channel, and that is Carol Collins, America's Medium. Carol, Jeshua, I mean, it's just been amazing speaking with you and hearing the incredible loving wisdom that you gave to us today. We could do this every week as far as I'm concerned. And I thank you for taking the time to come back on to World Awakenings. Such beautiful, loving information. And Carol or Jeshua, if you want to relate to us, how can people connect with America's Medium and work with you?
Americas-medium.com. I'm America's Medium on social platforms. And I'll have a shameless plug, americasmedium.com, but there is a dash between the two words. And it's just like this. I love, 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 love what I do. I love what I do. And I love Jeshua, and I love their style of doing readings. They're in-depth. They have so much step-by-step guidance for you. They have all the pathways, all the options that are coming up for you, what you're manifesting and why, how to get more of it or how to get rid of it. And they also do attunement. So the energy work that they were talking about, they do that, and those sessions are available. So what else? Classes, as they described, once a month. I have a 2-hour knowing conversations with Jeshua. It's 2 hours where Jeshua is fielding questions in a group setting. So do consider that. And then I also have this really, really fun thing called membership. And with membership, you get all of the hour knowings. You get the full archive of the hour knowings. Those are the 2-hour workshops. You get 1 30-minute reading, free reading. You get one of the Jeshua books. And you also get to witness book dictation with the opportunity to ask questions. And then whatever discounts that I throw out your way during the year. And it's $50 a month. It's just a monthly auto payment, $50 a month. Well worth it.
11 books that you wrote and published too, so people can purchase those also.
Jeshua books. I will say there's not a word of it that's mine, except for the bio, and I think only about half of that was mine because I wrote that with Jeshua. But yes, in 2021 they dictated by video 11 books. They've done 10 more since, and I have an ongoing list of books that they are interested in writing. I just need to sit myself in front of the camera and do it. So July 19th, as part of the membership package, you do get to witness book dictation. And it's Reclaiming Your Natural Self. It's a Pillar 3 self-healing book. It does begin on July 19th. But if you join membership after that, no big deal. You'll still have the archive of all the videos and all the wonderful Jeshua energy that comes through with them. So I would really enjoy connecting with all of you. And like, follow, and subscribe to Carl and World Awakenings. It's a great podcast. I really love being here every time. And if you want to like, follow, and subscribe to me, it's on social media, America's Medium, on all of it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I know you have a busy schedule. Jeshua, I love you. I love you, Carol. Thank you. You're one of my favorite people. Jeshua, you're one of my favorite beings. And thank you for being in my life and all of our lives.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.